Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Chapter 19. We're doing the survey of animals. We've made it up to our last group of animals, our last class of animals called the mammals. We're going to dig a little deeper into mammals than we did into all the rest of the groups. And we're going to talk about an order. An order is one level below a class. And our first order of mammals are the monotremes, Monotremata. There are only 5 species of monotremes. What makes the monotremes special? The specialness of monotremes is that these are mammals that lay eggs. They're only found in Australia. There are 5 species. There's 1 species of platypus. Everyone knows about the duck-billed platypus, right? Hey, where's Perry? The beaver duck. The duck-billed platypus, everyone's heard about that. Platypuses lay eggs. There's also something called a spiny anteater, and this is what we see right here in the picture. This is a spiny anteater. It's called an echidna, and there are actually 4 species of echidna. 1 species of platypus, 4 species of echidnas. These are egg-laying mammals. They're the simplest of mammals, and they're the ones that are most closely related to, well, not most closely related to, but they're the ones that are more similar to reptiles. They do have mammary glands. Remember, to be a mammal, you have to have mammary glands, but they don't have a milk delivery device. The nipple on the female is what delivers the milk to the infant. And what we're saying is that monotremes do not have nipples. What monotremes have is they just have a patch of skin on their tummy that exudes milk like sweat. You know, sweat beads up on your skin when you're hot. Milk beads up on her tummy when she is lactating. And so the babies actually have to lick the milk off of their mother's tummy. This really illustrates the origin of mammary glands. Mammary glands are really just modified sweat glands. Very highly specialized sweat glands, but they're just modified sweat glands. And so if mammary glands are modified sweat glands, then milk is just modified sweat. There's like a nice cool glass of modified sweat, maybe a little bit of chocolate in it, scoop ice cream. Modified sweat's pretty good, ain't it? We move on from the monotremes to the marsupials. Our next order are the marsupials. And there's about 300-ish species of marsupials. Marsupials are obviously the pouched mammals. So this is a step up in complication. All right, remember, everything up until this point has laid eggs. Monotremes lay eggs. So what's the problem with laying eggs? And the answer is, if you lay eggs and a predator shows up, mom either has to defend those eggs or she has to run off and leave them. And so if she has to run, and what else can happen to eggs? Eggs can be broken accidentally. So if mom can keep the baby with her longer, it dramatically increases their chances of survival. If mom can hold on to the babies in her own body, it dramatically increases the chances of survival for the baby. And so the way the marsupials do this is that mom has a pouch. The baby is born as really nothing more than an underdeveloped fetus. It's a little pink, wiggly thing. All right? It comes out of the birth canal, and it has to crawl up mommy's tummy and crawl into mommy's pouch. Once in mommy's pouch, she has nipples in there. The baby has to attach onto a nipple and is now going to drink milk and finish developing by drinking milk. This is an advantage over egg laying, because now the baby is being held by mom. And it's better than egg laying. As we said, about 335 species of pouched mammals, almost all of them are in Australia. There's only a handful of possums that are found outside of Australia. We've got the North American possum here. I think there's one or two in South America. I think there's one in Europe. There's a handful of possums that are marsupials, pouched animals, that are not found in Australia, but by far all the rest of them are found in Australia. There were no, zero, zip, zilch, no mammals on Australia that weren't either a marsupial or a monotreme. The first placental mammal to make it to Australia was us, humans. And that was about, I think, 30,000 years ago, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one. Marsupials. They grow up in their mother's pouch. These are marsupial animals. Kangaroos, North American possum, koala bears. These are all pouched animals. They have a pouch. Mommy gives birth to an undeveloped fetus, crawls out of the birth canal into mom's pouch, attaches to a nipple, and then drinks milk and continues development by drinking mom's milk. Marsupials. We said there's about 5,500 species of mammals. If 5 of them lay eggs and 335 of them are pouched animals, then what are by far the rest of the animals? By far the rest of the animals are the eutherians, the so-called placental mammals. Order Eutheria. And it's about 5,000 species. Most mammals are placental mammals. Most mammals are like us. The fetus is kept inside the mother until it is born. It is born much more developed than the marsupial baby is. There is an advantage, a major advantage over marsupials or even egg layers, and that's that the baby is born much more developed. It can happen that marsupial babies don't make it into the pouch. It can happen that the babies can be extracted from the pouch accidentally. There are problems with being a marsupial. We said the first placental mammals to make it to Australia were humans. The Aboriginal people had been there for several thousand years before Europeans got there, white people. When the white people got there, they brought their animals with them. Those animals being rabbits, mice, cats, dogs, rats. All of these placentals came with the Europeans. Some of them were brought deliberately. Cats, dogs, rabbits. Some came accidentally, mice and rats. All of these things got loose, and they started to wreak havoc on the Australian countryside. The problem is that anytime a placental and a marsupial compete, the placental wins. End of story. Anytime a placental and a marsupial compete, the placental wins and the marsupial loses. And so placental mammals have been, for the last, give or take 200 years, have been just really, really, really destroying native species in Australia because of it. The reason why there weren't any placental mammals is that the last time Australia was connected to the mainland, the pinnacle of mammalian evolution was marsupials. When Australia broke off, that was the pinnacle of mammalian evolution. On the mainland, this thing called the placenta developed many, many thousands, millions of years later and spread throughout all of the rest of the continents. But Australia was isolated. And that's why placentalism never made it to Australia or its relatives like Tasmania and New Zealand. And then, like I said, once Europeans showed up in Australia, they really caused a lot of problems. All of these animals that we see are placental mammals. Dolphins is a whole other group of animals. Cetaceans, aquatic, totally aquatic mammals. They never come on land. They spend their whole lives in the water. They are still mammals. They do still have hair. They have eyelashes. And they make milk. Beautiful little seals. I wouldn't say a cute bear. Bears, you can call them cute, but they can hurt. mammals. Here are some more mammals, some more aquatic mammals. Whales. This is called a narwhal. A narwhal is a species of whale. This unicorn horn is not a horn, it's actually a tusk. It's a tooth. The males have it, and the males actually use it for fighting back and forth. And if you look at some of the oldest woodcuts, the oldest paintings of supposed unicorns, they had really long horns, because the original myth of the unicorn was somebody had found and killed a narwhal and brought the horn back and lied and said that it came from a horse. And notice how the unicorn horns are always twisted, right? Because it's a tusk that twists. This is an elephant seal. Seals are related to another group. These are semi-aquatic. They come out on land to have babies. Pinnipeds. What is that thing right there? Have you ever seen one of those things before? That is a freshwater dolphin. There are about 3 species of freshwater dolphins. I think there's one in the Amazon River, and I think there's 2 in rivers in China, the Yellow River and something else. Not many species of freshwater dolphins. They're really ugly animals. But the thing is, dolphins have this great ability to echolocate, right? Which is very useful in the ocean, but then again, in the ocean you can see. How about in a muddy, muddy, muddy river? Can you see in a muddy river? Not very darn far. So how about this echolocation thing now? Hey, that's actually really super effective in a river. So, freshwater dolphins. Thanks. We'll see you in chapter 20.